Hey everyone, welcome to the channel and another review. Welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you have been here before. On this channel we just talk about all things movies. I usually post about 2 or 3 reviews per week of the movies that I see in theaters. So if that interests you, be sure to hit the subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos when they post. Alright, with that, let's get into this review. I just got back from seeing Duel at the theater, so let's talk about it. So in this movie, a woman opts for a cloning procedure after she receives a terminal diagnosis, but when she recovers, her attempts to have her clone decommissioned fail, leading to a court-mandated duel to the death. Alright, so my background and kind of anticipation coming into this film was, I would say it was moderate. Like, I saw the trailer for this film and it looked pretty interesting, but I think I'd only seen the trailer once, and then I think I saw on Rotten Tomatoes that it was around 70%. So I was hopeful that this would be a good film, but also, recognizing that it's, not a super, I don't know, it seemed like a more low-key film, even though it had a couple actors in it that I recognized. But yeah, of what I've seen from Karen Gillan and Aaron Paul, I like both of them. So seeing that they'd be in this movie definitely had me interested. But with that, let's get into what I liked about the film. And kind of first up, this is more just kind of about the title of the film, and I thought it was kind of clever for the title. It sort of has a double meaning, but not quite. The word technically is dual, and they mean that as far as a double. But dual sounds very, very close to duel, which I can't even, like, I could make the difference, but we say them so very, very similarly, but as like a duel to the death, which is what the movie ends up being about as well. So even though it's spelled slightly differently, if you were to just say it, I think it has a double meaning as far as it's basically being a homonym, I think is the correct word for that. So I thought that was pretty clever, and I picked up on that kind of in the first scene of the movie. I didn't really process that though, just watching the trailer. But yeah, that was, I thought, just a clever thing. Otherwise, the other parts of the movie that I really liked were just the tone of the comedy. You wouldn't necessarily know this was going to be it's not really a comedy, but it is very comedic, but it's dry and sort of dark humor, which I don't think you get a whole lot of in movies. So that was, like, especially dry humor is right up my alley. That is, I think, significantly better than like slapstick humor. So that part of it I absolutely loved. People were laughing in the theater throughout the entire film, and that was just nice to watch and like understand or hear other people laughing, as opposed to saying just watching this at home. If I was at home by myself, I don't think it would have been as good of an experience as being in the theater and enjoying that with other people. Up next, I did enjoy kind of the intellectual aspect of the film. Especially for kind of the ending, not going into spoilers, they leave clues, as they don't spell out the ending, but they leave clues and you can kind of piece it together. I think it's enough clues where I'm pretty confident in my own interpretation, but again, they don't spell it out, and I appreciate that a lot. And there's just, I think, other elements that appeal to a more intellectual and like food for thought sort of nature to the film. And I definitely liked that aspect of it. Just thinking, like, if we lived in a world like this where this technology was possible, basically a Westworld, like this could happen in the same world that Westworld's in. If you can make clones of people like that, where they're not exact clones, like they look similar, but they have to be trained up, but they can also be kind of different people. I thought that was really interesting, and yeah, it reminded me of some of the themes of Westworld, which I think is really fun food for thought, but maybe not everyone does. So, but for me, yeah, that was definitely a plus for the movie. Up next, I really liked I thought Karen Gillan did a great job playing both versions of herself, and it wasn't, I think there's definitely some scenes that require a bit of emotion, but her character is fairly reserved when it comes to emotion and that sort of thing, which for me kind of made her a bit more relatable. And I know that I think it's always nice when you can connect a bit more with the main character. Other people might not be able to connect as well with her given that, but I at least was, so I kind of appreciated that. I also like Aaron Paul in this role. I think, is a different role than I've seen him play before. He reminded me a lot of Carlton Lassiter off of Psych, the TV show, as far as just being this kind of deadpan, sort of no nonsense, straight to the point sort of character. And that was laughs all around for a lot of his stuff. And yeah, it was great to see him in this movie. I like him in the other stuff that I've seen. So he's not in a ton of stuff, but I do enjoy him when I see him. And then while I didn't really like the characters, I thought they were well done and really added to the story for the mother and the boyfriend of Sarah. And they were just, I don't know. I think they were very realistic, but in the movie they come across as some of like the worst people. Like, man, they treat her so poorly, but I don't know, but like that's what happens though. It didn't feel like not real. So I thought I thought the story was well crafted and the characters were well crafted. And then just a couple things that I didn't really care for are kind of in the mixed category. I thought it was a little strange that it's a little bit of a leap of faith to be like, yeah, there's a world out there like this, or a version of the world where they allow a duel to the death of a human and their clone. Like, you'd think there'd be a better way to resolve that, but on the flip side, like, acknowledging that and then seeing pretty much every character in this movie just have a very practical kind of sort of morbid approach to things. Like, they just cut to the point. Like, they're not going to sugarcoat anything. So I'm like, well, if that's how pretty much everyone we encounter in this movie is, maybe that's just where society's at, and that's reflective in the fact that this is how they resolve this situation, and people actually watch it on television, a essentially live execution, just because somebody didn't die when they thought they were going to. But yeah, that was just kind of interesting. Otherwise, just a slight nitpick. It didn't really make sense, again, why the original was stuck paying all the bills. I don't know if they said that the double had to pay any of the bills. It didn't really seem like it. Maybe I just didn't pick up on that, but it didn't really seem fair to be putting all that on the original. But that was just kind of a slight nitpick. And yeah, not much more outside of that. I thought overall, this was a really fun film for me. I liked it very much. I'd give this a letter grade of an A, and I would definitely recommend it. But with the asterisk that it might not necessarily be, up your alley if you're not really into, dry and sort of dark humor, at least as far as that goes. But yeah, this was a fun movie, definitely one of the better ones I've seen this year. And yeah, with that wraps up this review. If you've seen Duel, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Did you have as much fun with it as me, or did it just kind of not really hit you the same? If you enjoyed this review, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe so you don't miss my next review. Alright, with that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.